Just as in the manner of the fullness of the Godhead, that the Son has no will of his own and the Spirit has no will of his own, that every will that we find them expressing upon the face of the earth are wills that are caught from the mind of the Father. In the same manner, man was created that the flesh and the soul has no will of their own, but the will that comes from the Spirit. And the right source, or the basic source of the will that the Spirit should have, to be in the mind of the Father, or from the mind of the Father. So anytime God wants to carry out an agenda as it is in the mind of the Father, the Spirit begins to move and the word comes out to ensure that that which is in the mind of the Father is proclaimed, and immediately that became a proclamation or a proclamation. The Spirit engendered it to ensure that this word that came from the Father becomes a reality. In the same manner, man, having the spirit man, has to decode or download the mind of the Father, and whatsoever is the mind of the Father is what it delivers to the soul. The soul delivers to the flesh, and the flesh and the soul and the spirit joining hands together to ensure that that which is the will of the Father finds expression upon the earth. Because without the flesh, the soul cannot manifest the will. And without the flesh, the spirit itself cannot manifest the will of the Father upon the earth. So you see how they are connected. This is how God created man to operate. But because of this disalignment, man, the flesh of man began to find another will from external source. And it takes not just the spirit having a will, the spirit now needs to begin to enforce a will upon the flesh. Ordinarily, it was not so from the beginning. But now, even though the spirit has a will, knows the will of the Father, the spirit cannot effectively carry out that will through the flesh, because the flesh has become a rebel. So on this account, the spirit now having the will, we need an external or extra force to ensure that that which is the mind of the Father finds expression through the flesh upon the earth. So the flesh now needs to be caged by force to walk in the path that God has created it to walk in. So the spirit now rule the flesh through the soul by force. And in the creating pattern of God, it was not accredited to the spirit to have total dominion over the flesh to rule, because the flesh and the soul and the spirit were to coexist. There was no violence inculcated into their system. Are you understanding that? Because God designs everything to work out of their will in love. The fullness of the Godhead operates together, not because God is forcing the Spirit to operate, not because the Father is forcing the Son to operate. He said, "No one take my life from me." He said, "I lay it down." That is to show that he had the power. He said, "I had the power to lay it down, to take it and to take it back." So Jesus, the word of the Father, having all this ability, but because there is a bound of love between him and the Father, he had no choice than to lay his life down. That is how man was created. Are you understanding this now? So because of this disalignment, the soul, though having a will or knowing the will of the Father, cannot engender it upon the earth, because it has no legal permission to operate upon the earth. Because as far as this ecosystem is concerned, it is the flesh that have the whole legal system to find expression upon the earth. Although the ability of the flesh to live in this world are engendered, or is engendered from the spirit, or despite the fact that this is a reality, but the spirit cannot manifest whatever he wants to manifest upon the earth, except as the flesh cooperates. So in God's mind, to support or to help the spirit to ensure that the flesh come under submission, what God did was to provide Jesus Christ, who is the pattern man, to nail the flesh to the cross. That in faith to him, we now have that spiritual intelligence to bring our flesh under the captivity of the cross.